Welcome back to another episode of Surprise Mama.
Where we talk about the shit they don't tell you.
Welcome to the Surprise Mama podcast.
Where we talk about shit they don't tell you.
And today is a especially kind of fun one.
Oh, yeah. I'm Molly, by the way.
I'm Ashley. I need to get better at.
No, we're fine.
It's
we're
fine.
Doing great.
You're doing a good job.
Okay, so what are we talking about?
Okay, so I have a friend who is in her first trimester. This is her first time being pregnant.
Okay.
And she sent me a list of questions.
Ooh.
Just to cover. So we're going to cover 5 of them.
Yeah. How many did she send you?
I think like 10.
Okay, so we picked 5.
Yeah. Some of them we had already covered in some of the other episodes.
Yeah.
So these are ones that we haven't really covered yet. Yeah. And so like they're not going to be in depth by any means of the imagination.
Yeah, we're going to shoot back and forth on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of fun because these are just questions from a friend who is pregnant for the first time.
Yeah.
So.
And she's in her first trimester?
Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Oh, so everything's completely unknown.
Everything is new.
Yeah, you don't know anything.
No.
And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Okay. So,
All right.
her first question, what was a question you were glad you asked your OB?
Oh. Okay. Do you want me to answer first and then you answer?
Okay, I think for me,
Okay.
so I'm answering first.
Okay, you're answer first.
This isn't like one specific time. I would just ask her all the time, is this normal? Or like I would message her. I was never afraid to message her. I was never afraid to call. And I would just say, is this normal?
Yeah. I like that.
I think that was really helpful. Like it was just like,
Because you don't know if it's normal.
no idea, especially if you've never been pregnant before.
In pregnancy, we've talked about this in the past, but it comes with many odd symptoms. Like you're just feeling things you've never felt and that you might never feel again. It's very weird.
Yep.
Very foreign.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
my answer would be really asking any question and following with, is this normal?
Yeah. No, I like that. That's good advice.
Yeah. What about you?
One question that was priceless that I asked my OB was when I was getting induced. I really pressed back and I was like, why? Why do we need to induce? Like, can you please walk me through every scenario that we can do before we go and schedule an induction? Like, I wasn't afraid to be like, okay, can we run this scenario? Or like, can you explain why? Because there's a lot of things they're like, okay, well, you're going to do this and this is when this is going to happen. And my suggestion is always ask why. Like, always ask why something's happening. Don't just consent to treatments, Like,
your OB,
it's really good to know why things are happening.
100%. Like, your OB obviously knows more than you do about this stuff because this is their job. But it is really good to ask why. And most of the time, if you have a good OB, they're going to explain everything and be very, very open to what you want and what you're requesting.
Totally. But I think that asking why also helps you not feel like you're just on the conveyor belt for having your baby. Like, they're like, this is our system and we deliver thousands of babies a year,
Yeah.
Okay, so anyways, that's my answer. We have to move fast.
You're like that. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Rapid fire. What's the next one?
Okay. When should I start looking for childcare?
I can answer this one.
Please do. I have some thoughts too, but I wonder if you're going to
immediately start looking for childcare. I don't want to, create public panic here, but like immediately start looking for childcare because it's shocking. It's probably the most stressful and shocking thing of pregnancy to realize how hard it is to find daycare because you're like, oh, the wait list is 18 months. You're like, oh, is that normal? They're like, yeah, it's normal. And if the daycare isn't a long wait, you're kind of like, well, why is there not a wait? What's wrong with it? Right? So my answer is look immediately and do not be afraid to have super high standards.
Oh, 100%.
We do a whole episode on child
we're
care
going
at some
to.
point.
We do something very different.
I also just changed daycares. Like I have like a lot of thoughts about it now.
Because my child care situation, I did not look around right away. I mean, I didn't have to.
We waited too long.
Oh.
And then we were kind of in a place where we had to kind of choose what was available.
Right.
If that makes sense.
And I have a friend who she just had her second son. And when she first got pregnant with him, she was like, I told you, Ashley, I told my parents, and I told the daycare center. And those are the only 3 people I'm telling. Because she was like, like right away, she wanted to know if there was going to be a spot for her son.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I don't know why this is allowed, but like there are many daycares that will allow you to be on their waiting list when you don't even have a child or when you're not even pregnant yet. So like there are many families that I've known where they enroll in daycares when they're trying to get pregnant. They're not even pregnant yet.
Well,
But like because the wait lists for daycares are so long.
yeah.
But you also like it's this weird game because like you have to pay to get enrolled. You have to pay to get on the waiting list. And then if you defer your spot, sometimes you have to pay more money to like keep the spot on the list.
Oh.
There are daycares that do that. And it's bullshit because you're like, I'm not made of money.
Right.
I'm not a tree.
And daycare is already expensive.
Oh, it's so expensive. Okay, but anyways, I don't want to be negative about it.
No,
I'm just
yeah,
saying,
yeah.
like, I'm really glad my daughter's in daycare, but like we've had to switch. There's a lot of decision that goes into it. So start looking now.
Right.
Start looking now. Do your research. Ask around. Really ask around, like vigilantly.
And especially if there's a daycare that you want to send your kid to,
just enroll it. Like
just enroll.
Get on the wait list.
Get on it.
Sorry, I keep saying enroll. Enrollment happens like once you have a spot.
I know what you mean.
But like, yes. So get on the wait list and get on one last tip, sorry, is that get on 2 wait lists.
Oh,
because
yeah.
you may get in a situation like we were in, my family, where we wanted to switch daycares, but we didn't have a spot or a wait list for another daycare. So then we're scrambling to find a new school for her. So get on 2 at least and just do it soon as you can.
And before we go to the next question, I know that it is easier for if you have a kid if you already have a kid enrolled at that daycare,
100%.
it is a little bit easier.
Yeah.
And then if your kid is older, sometimes it's easier to get them in.
It is because I would say the most competitive spots in a daycare are the infant room.
Oh, yes. Because they have less students they're allowed to have in the room. So it's more limited.
Yeah, the ratio is smaller. So the state ratios in Ohio, at least, are 1 to 5 for an infant, right? But you probably want to find a daycare where they're not maxing out that ratio. There's lots to think about. But literally, like, if you have more questions, email us or reach out. I do think we should do an episode on that because there's so much that goes into choosing a daycare. And you may not, like, hit gold the first time. Like, I mean, we didn't. Right. You know, there's pros and cons to every childcare center.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's that one.
Okay, so the third question is tips on how to include my husband in the pregnancy stage of parenting. Okay, let me think about this for a second.
I kind of have.
Okay, tips on how to include my husband in the pregnancy stage of parenting. Okay, first off, that's an excellent question.
It is a really good question.
That's like a really good question. And that's very thoughtful. So I guess I'll just try to answer how I did that.
Yeah.
Okay. So pregnancy feels very individualized, right? You're like your body is the one that is in metamorphosis, so to speak, right? You're growing the babe. So you're feeling everything, right? He doesn't feel any of that. He has no idea what's going on. Right. Okay, that's a whole other topic.
I know. I'm like, it's just so.
But one of the things that I did was as soon as I started feeling sensations, I just was like, hey, Ryan, she's kicking. Or this is how this feels, or this is that. And then that obviously progressed as I got into my 2nd, 3rd trimester. Super cool. So like Ryan and I would be sitting on the couch and like he would just like sit there and feel her move while we're like watching a show or something, or he'd talk to her. Those are very obvious things. I think that's a very obvious answer. But another way to include your partner or your spouse in parenting when you're pregnant is bring them into like decorating the nursery. Really like just do those things together. Like work on your registry together. That's not something you have to do completely alone. I think as women, we tend to like kind of take that on entirely on our own. Yeah. But like, you know, include your your husband as best you can. Like, they might want to be more involved than you think.
I
They
would
might have
agree.
opinions on, like, the aesthetic of things more than you
Oh,
think.
my husband definitely.
Yeah, and it's kind of fun.
It
And then, like, that is a way for them to be, like, physically involved
Right.
before the baby's here.
I know. I was also thinking, let them do things for you. I have a really, really hard time for that. Like,
Let them rub your feet.
right, like my dad would be like, "Can I make you food?" And I actually hate it when people make me food.
Wait, really?
I just am
Do
so
you not like the way they make it?
well. There's a lot. Yeah, sometimes I love my husband so much, but he uses like 4 pans for like spaghetti. And it's just like more of that. Like it's really messy.
Oh. I just sous chef for my husband.
See, I need to start doing that.
Because Ryan uses a lot of pans too, but it's really good food. So I'm like,
Yeah,
let me sue for you.
it tastes good,
Oh, it's amazing.
but he would like when I was pregnant, he would offer to do things, and I just really like doing everything myself. But learning to be like, no, you're actually trying to take care of me.
Yeah, girl.
Also, if your partner can come to as many of the appointments with
Visit.
you, yeah,
The appointments.
yeah, I know like sometimes it's not possible, especially near the end when you have an appointment like every week. But if they can come to as many as possible, I think that helps them really feel involved, and also you, especially if it's like the anatomy scan or like just when they're doing different things.
I
like,
would
yeah,
say that shouldn't even be optional. Like,
Right.
you
right.
really want to be at the anatomy
Oh
scan.
yeah, and like the first appointment too, like
Yeah.
and some of the other ones, like I don't know, if they can come, they should, just because I think it helps both of you really feel like you're both involved in.
Oh, yeah. Especially if you have any type of complication.
Right.
Like, it's so much easier to have your person in the room with you, and they remember a lot better than you do at that
Right.
stage because you're pregnant and you're really tired.
Right.
Your brain is literally altered. Like, your brain chemistry is altered when you're
Yeah.
pregnant. So, like, you cannot remember things as well as you did.
Well, yes. When I was pregnant for the first time and I had my appointment where I found I had the miscarriage, I was there by myself, and there was
so shitty.
there was
so
all,
shitty.
and it was just because it was like a
I know, but it's like, it's just shitty that it happened that way. 'Cause
Right.
It was at other appointments.
I know.
It just is so sad.
But
that
it's
you were
like
alone.
all this information was coming at me, and I was like,
You're like, I'm totally going to be able to regurgitate all
And I-
this
and it was-
tragic news
yeah.
when I get home.
so it's like if for some
Yeah.
unfortunate reason you have information that's hard in an appointment, your spouse being there, your partner being there is also just helpful because they can help remember things a little bit better, or just be the
100%.
support in the moment. Hopefully that doesn't happen to anybody. I'm just saying that's an example
Yeah.
of.
I think too, though, like, Ryan's memory was like better than mine too,
Oh.
going into appointments. So if there were questions or things that were weird, he always remembered, and I always forgot. I'd be like, no, I don't think I have anyone.
Right.
Like, but I would write everything down, but inevitably I would still forget, even though I'm looking at the
Yeah.
list. Like,
They would be like, did you ask about X, Y, and Z? I'm like,
no.
definitely forgot.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
So I think, yeah. What was the question that we're talking about? Oh, how to include your spouse in like the early stage of parenting. Yeah. I love it. But anyways, we
I think those cover.
yeah,
At
that
least, like,
kind
from
of
what
goes
we
back to
think.
like the OB thing too.
Right.
Like, yeah. So,
Yeah.
okay. I think we're like halfway
I
through.
know.
So, okay. So, fourth question is, if you could, okay. This is good. If you could give your first trimester self one piece of advice, what would it be? Let Dev cook for you.
Let Dev
Just
cook for you.
kidding. What's
Okay,
your
I
answer?
did think about this one.
Okay.
Enjoy it. Because after your first trimester,
Yeah.
like, I think that's when reality starts to settle in a little bit more
Mhm.
of like, oh, my life is about to change.
Yeah.
Like,
So true.
I'm showing more and I'm feeling it more. And it's just like, I think you kind of have to start prepping a little bit more in the second trimester,
You do.
because you have like your baby shower you're going to have, you have like a room you have to like make up for your baby. And I think the first trimester, especially if you're not feeling too sick,
Yeah.
you're just kind of like, oh, this is like a new thing.
Yeah.
And just like enjoying life where you're at then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because life is going to dramatically change
Mm-hmm.
in the next few months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. That's good. So just the summary of that would be just like enjoy where you're at.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
At least that's like coming from me. That's what I like. Look
Yeah,
back on. I'm like,
you look back on-
enjoy. I
you
really
wish you
actually
had more.
enjoy. Well, actually, I really enjoyed my
You
first
did.
trimester because nobody knew I was pregnant. So I just got to live, like, I had a few friends, and obviously my husband, my family didn't know. Most of my friends didn't know.
Same.
I just got to enjoy, like, the 3 months just living my life.
Yeah.
And it was kind of nice, actually, because I didn't have the pressure of, like, "Oh, I'm pregnant,"
Right.
from other people. It
Or
was
you
just
had
like,
anything to show for it.
right.
Yeah.
So it was
Yeah.
nice. It was just
Yeah.
kinda like, okay.
Yeah, I was kind of in a similar boat. Like no one knew.
Mhm.
Very select circle of people knew. Um, but I guess my advice would be it's okay to rest.
Oh.
Um, I didn't really feel that I had like the luxury of resting. Like I've talked about it in other episodes. I just had a lot going on. So I had to like
Mhm.
literally I'd work all day and then I would come home and I would study. And so I was like not napping. I never napped. I think I took like 2 naps for my entire first trimester, but I was
I didn't nap either.
exhausted. I was so tired. And I think like in your first trimester, you kind of feel like shit. You're kind of nauseous. Your severity of
Mm.
nausea will like vary depending on just like how your body reacts to
Mhm.
pregnancy. Um, so like just I don't know, try to enjoy it as much as you can before it's like this huge public display.
Yeah.
And like don't be afraid to rest because you're going to get less and less rest as your
Mhm.
body changes and your baby grows because it gets harder to sleep. So just like enjoy sleeping on your back while you can
Oh.
and just like relax.
Maybe that's another one. Enjoy sleeping on your back while you can.
I am like not really a back sleeper anymore, which is weird because I was like
I'm more of a
religiously a back
I'm more of a
sleeper.
back sleeper now than I used to
And
be.
then I had to like sleep on my side the whole time I was
Yeah.
pregnant. And now I kind of just sleep on my side all the time. And maybe that's why my neck hurts all the time.
I know, I'm like, "Ugh, your body."
I don't know.
But yeah, I think first trimester, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
I think also too, especially, you usually find out you're pregnant at like what, 4 or 5 weeks. There's just like
Maybe 6.
maybe
It just depends.
7, depends where you're at.
It just depends.
And it's just like you're already like trying to process so many things. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, just slowing down, enjoying life,
Yeah.
and just taking it in, especially if you're not telling anybody else.
Like just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the ones that know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah, it is. Okay, what's the last question?
Okay. Okay. If you could give your new mom self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Okay, new mom self.
Yeah.
So you have your baby. Okay, I know my answer.
Okay. I don't know my answer yet, so.
I'm not I'm saying this because I still currently struggle with this. My child is she is 10 and a half months old, almost 11 months old, but like this is just I wish I would have done this all along as soon as she was born. Um receive help. Like
Oh.
don't be afraid to ask for help and do not decline help. Those 2 things are so hard. They're just so much
Mhm.
easier said than done.
Mhm.
Okay? We're independent,
Oh,
kick-ass
yeah.
women, we're trying to like do everything ourselves, but I am really serious. Like don't be afraid to ask for help and do not decline help that people offer.
Yeah.
Even if it isn't what you need, be like, that's not actually how I need help,
Yeah.
but if you could do this, like be audacious.
Yeah.
Because when people are offering you help in the first few months, which doesn't happen after the first few
No, it
months,
does
it
not.
really just fades away. Like the new baby is like there, everyone comes over, they're like, oh, and it's amazing. And you're like kind of delirious. So you just don't realize
Mhm.
how incredible that is, where you have like this whole village of people just like coming to take care of you. And then it kind of slowly goes away and it kind of fades out because that's just like normal life.
Right.
You kind of get more sustained as a parent and you can start to take care of your newborn. But like I wish that I just wouldn't have worried so much about trying to do everything myself. I was like always cleaning my house. I was like always trying to like just make sure that I looked like I had it together.
Right.
But I was exhausted.
Yeah.
And I looking back and even now as a mom, I'm like I need to do this because it's so hard.
Yeah, and like what you said, like think sometimes people would offer stuff that I'm like, nah, and I think it's really people don't know what you need. So if people are offering to do something, it's not like specifically what you want or what you need. You could ask, but hey, could you do this? Like kind of
Yeah.
redirect them. And I think
Yeah.
it is sometimes hard as a new mom to do that,
Well, it's
but
hard
it
to
is what you need actually.
yeah, and it's hard to entrust your needs to other people
Yeah.
because they're not gonna do it maybe the way that you would. They're not gonna do it the way that maybe like someone else would have if they had if they knew, or I don't know, you know what I'm saying? But like I think that's good practice as a new parent because what happens is then you're going to have to learn to entrust your child to other people. Like
Yeah.
for instance, like when you start at daycare, um like do I have preferences on how things are done? Hell yeah, I do. But I'm not in control of her
Right.
every hour at
Right.
daycare, you know? Like I'm not there like monitoring what
Mhm.
happens. So it's just a good principle in general, I
Right.
think. Anyways,
think
I
it's
guess
good.
that's my answer.
I like that.
Yeah.
I was thinking kind of two things. One, um, allowing your life allow your life to change. I think when you go from not having a kid to having a kid, it's at least for me, it was really easy or really difficult for me to let go of the fact that my life was very different
Oh, yeah.
than it was before.
And
I
it
was
will
even
be for a while.
right.
Yeah.
I was even thinking about like that this weekend. I was like, man, if I didn't have a kid right now, I could be out doing whatever I wanted, like running errands, going on a long run, like, and I wouldn't have to think about somebody else.
Hmm.
But life changes, and that is life, and that is okay, and that is good, and just like allowing those changes to happen and like going with them and not against them,
Yeah.
because you're just going to be kind of miserable if you try to go against it because you can't, your life is just going to be different. The other thing is that reminding yourself that things do get better, they get easier.
Yeah.
Like the newborn phase is like very difficult, especially if you've
Trial by
never,
fire.
right, especially if you've never done it before. And the more that you learn, the more that you get into a rhythm and just like a schedule, and the older they get, it does get easier.
It does. And like, I can't remember if I've said this before, but like I've heard people say, or like people have even said to me, I think, they're like, oh, just hold on. It's gonna get crazier. It's gonna get harder. And I'm like, I have to get on my soapbox for just like 5 seconds.
For like a minute.
And I'm okay. For a full 60
For
seconds.
a
Here
full
we go.
60 seconds here.
Don't ever bleep me out, okay? Don't ever say that to another mom. Don't ever say that to a new mom. Don't ever look at a new mom and be like, oh, well, hold on, honey, because it's going to get tough. Like, it's already tough.
It is.
You're literally talking to a new, like, brand new mom who is sleep deprived and is like, is literally like, is this like what it's gonna be like? And you're literally telling them that it's gonna get worse. That's so up. Like, do not do that. I don't care if you have neuroses. Like, just stop.
I also don't
Don't
agree
say
with
that.
it.
I
also
don't either,
agree with
because
it.
I agree with you when you say it gets easier, because it does. The things that are hard, they change.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Like the things that are hard with our daughter right now are way different than they were 10 months ago.
Right.
But like, I don't know, maybe it's that we build endurance, but like at the same time, they change.
Right.
We change with them. We're learning just as much as they are. So anyway, sorry, I had to get on my soapbox for a minute because when you said that, I thought of these instances where
Oh, I
parents have
know.
like other parents have said to me, like not meaning like any harm, but they're like, "Oh, well, just wait for the, toddler stage." And I'm like, "What?"
Like we have a toddler.
I'm spiraling.
Like we have a toddler. It's hard, but not. I don't know. I don't.
But you're getting 8 hours of sleep at night.
Right. Like I get.
You know what
sleep.
I'm saying?
Yeah. And she's
Like,
at daycare. Like she has friends. Like she's doing stuff.
she's flourishing.
Right. Like I'm not afraid she's gonna choke when she eats her food. You know, it's like
Oh my God. Every day in my life, I'm like,
right.
literally.
So it's like things change, and like there are things that are difficult, but I
Yeah.
think it's still easier than having a newborn. You know, like
Yeah.
I would.
But I wouldn't trade the newborn stage because
No, 'cause
it is so super special.
Cuddly.
Yeah, oh, they're the best. But I don't know. Anyhow,
Yeah.
what were we gonna say?
I don't know what I was gonna say.
Yeah, but anyways, I think that's a great answer.
Yeah.
Like these are the snippets of advice that we'd give to ourselves
Right.
as new moms. If,
Right.
like we could go back in time and be like,
Yeah.
"Psst, Ashley,
Right.
Smalley.
Well, it's like if you were to
Stop
do
being
it
so hard on yourself.
if you were to do it over again, it's like, okay, now you already have these things in your mind.
Yeah.
So it's like for a kid number 2 or something, it's like, okay, cool. Like I already been through the first time.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to hopefully listen to myself for a second time. Maybe we don't.
We hope. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think, you look at parents who have had a couple kids, they're pretty laid back.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah.
You learn to let go a lot.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. You also just like know what you're doing, I guess.
Well, I think that's what it is. Like,
but we're first time moms, so
yeah, I mean,
what do we know?
We know nothing. Yeah. Anywho, those are our like pretty quick 5 questions we sped through. But I actually really like this, just kind of being sent questions and just answering them this way.
Oh, so fun.
So again, if anybody ever has any questions they want to send us, we will cover them. Like we want to cover whatever you have.
Mm-hmm.
You can email those to surprisemommapod@gmail.com or you could message us on TikTok or Instagram at surprisemomma.
Yep. You sure can.
And then you can find all of our episodes on
Apple,
YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube. You can watch and listen on YouTube. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify.
Yeah. But yeah, please send us questions, send us concerns. I don't know why you would have any, but if you do, please send them our way.
You like to hear all the weird shit that we say? Yeah, keep sending us questions.
Yeah, we love it.
The fact that your friend was like, I want to hear what you guys have to say, I'm like, I am honored.
You will love the answer.
Do you actually want to know?
She's going to love this episode. Please tell us what you think, okay?
Writes in and she's like, please take that episode down.
That was the worst one you've ever done.
This was terrible advice.
Anywho, thank you for listening.
All right, we'll see you soon.
Bye.
How did I do with my mic?